when I first started to talk to Suzanne about this story, she wasn't even quite finished writing the book yet, and she was telling me that there's a big music element in the story. I was sort of surprised, and we were having quite a long conversation, and she gave me sort of a bit of her own history, and that she's quite a country music aficionado, is actually, I think, a country music DJ, she told me at one point, and has a really deep knowledge of country music, and especially sort of older country music, and the history of it and where it came from, and the sort of the ballads from Scotland and England and Ireland. I sort of became kind of obsessed with that genre of country music, or sort of subgenre of country music. And so then once I had read the book and we started to work on the screenplay, it was sort of time to figure out who's going to help us kind of bring these songs to life. We already had the lyrics from the book. Suzanne, with her knowledge of country music, sort of already knew generally the kinds of songs that she, loved, that she was kind of thinking of, that were, references for her. And we met with Dave Cobb. He was recommended to us by Lionsgate, and he had done such a great job on Star is Born, and we had a great Zoom with him, and he's just a really great guy, really nice, really talented, really friendly, really connected, based out of Nashville, and really connected to a bunch of great musicians there too. And so we just had lots of conversations. I would have conversations about what the scenes were going to be like in the movie, and sort of tonally what I was looking for. And Suzanne talked a lot about the sort of history references for her, for the lyrics and the kinds of songs she was thinking about. And he ended up writing, the melodies and the sort of the chord and song structures for these songs, and then brought together this great group of, I think, primarily Nashville-based musicians, to put these songs together. And it was just a really fun, fantastic process. One of the fun things about this movie in general, and this story, the book even that Suzanne wrote, is you get to see sort of the origin of a lot of elements of the stories that we already, know and love. You see somewhat really the beginning of the games, the origins of the cornucopia. Clearly, it's the origin story of Coriolanus Snow. But one of the things that we get to see and hear is sort of the origin of the hanging tree. And so people are familiar because, Katniss sings it in Mockingjay Part 1, and it's like an old song that's been passed down through generations for her. And here we actually see Lucy Gray coming up with it for the first time after an actual hanging. And so you sort of start to get the real kind of history and quality of it, as well as the fact, and without spoiling anything, the fact that Lucy Gray Baird and Coriolanus Snow actually do meet at the hanging tree at a certain, important part of the film. And so that's been one of the great satisfying parts of making this movie, is just, all the sort of Easter eggs and sort of elements that tie into the other movies. It's been really fun.